Welcome to the Fermented Homestead. Today is the first harvest of our radish season, and I have a whole bin of radishes that I just harvested today. So we are going to scrub these up, cut them up a little bit, and we're going to throw them in a jar and ferment them. So first step is just going to be cleaning them off a little bit. I don't want to clean them off too much, because we want the bacteria that's on them, we want them to ferment vegetables. So we're just going to clean them off a bit. And we have these long ones here. These are Lita radishes. And then these ones are Zlata. And some giant German ones. So. And these ones I harvested a few hours ago, and I think it might have been too long. These are actually already starting to feel kind of soft. Which is a bummer, but there's a whole bunch more out there we can try again. Those are going to go back in the compost bin. Get some of the bigger dirt chunks out of here. There we go. And we're just going to kind of give them a little bit of a scrub. Nothing too major. At any time through the process, before you start or whenever it is, you need to warm up the water just a little bit, enough to melt the salt in the water. And we're going to go ahead and do a ratio of 2 tablespoons per quart of water. So I'm just going to warm up 1 quart of water, just a little bit, and then put the salt in there, and then it'll be ready to go. Okay, so while the water is behind me warming up over there, we're just going to go ahead and cut these up. You can kind of just pick whatever shape that you want to do. I'm just going to do some kind of thick discs. Kind of the only thing that really matters is that you do them kind of consistent with whatever you're doing. I think this one might have been just about ready to bolt, but we'll go ahead, ferment it, and see what we get. And some of these got attacked by, I think they were potato bugs. There's a problem with potato bugs in our yard. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut out these little spots. I don't know if it matters, but better to cut them out now than ruin the whole batch. Shake it to get it down in there. I might have to eat some of this. Let's see what these like. Pretty good. This is the Lita radish. Not super spicy, but still pretty tasty. Remember that part where I said don't warm it up too much? Yeah, there's that. So we're gonna have to wait for that to cool down. No, we don't. That's dirty. If you do warm up your water too much, like I just did, just grab your jar, the hot water. You want to put some cooler water in the jar so you don't crack your jar. And then you just put some hot water in there, not too much. And then you add your 2 tablespoons of salt. And just stir it up until it dissolves. And that's how you make a really, really simple brine, just salt and water. You can make it the salt water brine at different ratios of saltiness to water. You just want to make sure that you have a bare minimum. You want to have probably, I would say, a tablespoon per quart. If you don't have enough salt in it, then you're going to get really mushy vegetables. It's not so much of a preservative as it is to prevent the pectins from breaking down. So you want to just make sure that you have enough salt in there to preserve the cells in there so they don't break down and get all mushy and funky and gross. So there's that. It's still just a little bit warm. So we're going to go ahead and let this cool off for just a little bit before we add it to the vegetables, just to make sure that everything is okay and we're not going to have any issues. If you put water in here that is too warm, then it will kill the bacteria that's in there and it will make it either impossible or very difficult to actually begin the fermentation process. And so you want to make sure that you're using nice, like room temperature, body temperature water. All right, so the water's cooled off enough. Now we're just gonna pour it over the radishes. I'm gonna stop a little short. Kinda see if I can make a little more room in here. That worked. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to put our pickle pack on top. Squish down a bit. It's a good idea to make sure that you weight down the vegetables when you're fermenting them. The purpose of the weight basically is you put the weight on top of the vegetables and it pushes it down so that the carbon dioxide that's building up inside will come to the surface and it won't get trapped inside and creating a bunch of air bubbles and stuff inside. So you want to just come in and push it down every once in a while. If you see a bunch of carbon dioxide build up in there, a bunch of bubbles in there, you just push it down and then it'll come up to the top, if that makes any sense. So now I just need to find the right pickle pipe. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and put the pickle pipe on top and a lid. And then we're just gonna cover this up, keep it covered from light. And then we're just gonna probably let it go on the counter, I guess, for about 2 weeks or so. But I will keep checking and I'll bring you back. And if you don't have any kind of an airlock system or a pickle pipe or one of these Fido style jars, these will work just fine. Then you just need to come in and put the flat lid on top of it, and you're just gonna kind of like release the air. Tighten it too tight. anyways, you're just gonna try and open that. And you're just gonna let the air out just a little bit, maybe once a day. And then that's about all you have to do. It's been about 10 days since we left the radishes to ferment, and so now it's gonna be the first time that I'm gonna check it. Well, other than looking at it on the counter, of course. But I have not opened it yet. It's clean, yay. There you go. Just kind of smells like radishes. Alright. Got a little bubbles coming up. Let's try this out. Ooh, it's squishy. I think that's done. That is really tasty. Let me try one more. Let's try a different kind. That one's different. Still squishy. A little bit on the sour side, not too bad. I like my ferments to be a bit more sour and a bit more, I just like to have more bacteria and have the bacteria break down the vegetables more. So I tend to let them go longer. If you don't like them too sour, you might want to start checking them at about 5 days. I've never had any ferment that I end up keeping other than eggs that I did not let it go at least a week. I usually go about 2 weeks, so I think 10 days is just about right for these radishes. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put a lid on them and throw them in the fridge to slow down the fermentation process. So if you guys are at all interested in this, if you like radishes, well really even if you don't like radishes, they don't taste a whole lot like radishes, and the fermentation process takes a bit of the bite out of them. So if you like the spice of the radish, you probably want to add some more seasonings or spices or something like that to them, and it would probably make them taste really good. I'm going to try that the next time that I do this. I just don't have a whole lot of luck with fermenting with spices and herbs and things like that in them because they tend to float on me and they just start to mold. So I tend to avoid them, but I'm working on figuring out a way to do that. If you have any suggestions in how to add spices and herbs to and it ferments without them molding, leave them in the comment section below. I would love to hear your feedback and your tips and advice. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.